Question is the bill be now read a second time, and I call the Chief Government Whip.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'm very pleased to speak on this bill today because some of the measures in this bill are very significant to my electorate in the southwest of Western Australia. Given the number of small and family businesses that have invested year upon year, those small businesses that are in rural and regional wine production, crafted wine production, and of course in that wine, food, tourism space. Now, members in this House would probably know about Margaret River. Well, Margaret River is in my electorate and I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of what they do in Margaret River, particularly as one of the premier wine-growing regions of this nation. It is undoubtedly an actual international brand, and it is about to celebrate its 50th anniversary of commercial fine wine making in the modern era. And this was started by Dr Tom Cullity. He started his plantings for Vasse Felix winery in Cowaramup in 1967. He was a pioneer in the industry, and he based that investment and that confidence on really groundbreaking research that had been done by University of WA agronomist Dr John Gladstone. Vasse Felix was followed in the Margaret River region by Mosswood, Cape Mentelle, Cullens, Sandalford, Leeuwin Estate, Woodlands and Wrights. And of course, Vanya Cullen was one of those who did outstanding work in raising Margaret River as a premium brand around the world. And I acknowledge her efforts in this space. There are over 150 wineries producing outstanding wines, including top quality Chardonnay and Cabernet Sauvignon. Margaret River's wine exports were valued at $27.8 million in 2016. It was an increase of 18%. And it's being exported to countries such as China, the United Kingdom, the United States, Singapore, Canada. And I can see, after being at a Dunsborough Chamber of Commerce event last Friday in Busselton, that more of those wine producers in the region are looking directly at how to take advantage of the free trade agreements and what the practical steps they have to take to be able to get the benefits of the reduction in tariffs. Those, of course, Japan, Korea and China that this government has signed. And of course, importantly, given the measures in this wet rebate bill, there are over 100 actual cellar doors in the Margaret River region who will benefit as a result of the decisions made in this bill. We also, though, in my southwest, have the Geograph wine region, encompassing areas of Ferguson Valley, Donnybrook, Capel, Harvey and Busselton. And we have even more of these wonderful small to medium, often family businesses, the ones that have invested, and they've invested in producing a variety of wines and greatly add to the tourism, the wining and dining experiences in the southwest. And they're wineries such as St Aidan's, Bereka's, Harvey River Estate and Capel Vale, just to name a few. And I know that the Geograph wine region is celebrating 15 years of its very popular wine shows. Mr Deputy Speaker, the wine equalisation tax rebate enables these types of wineries that I've mentioned, eligible producers like my small to medium family independent enterprises to offset their wine equalisation tax liability. And it is so important in my electorate. The rebate was designed specifically to provide assistance to small and medium-sized winemakers, as well as to promote tourism in rural and regional areas. Now, it has done exactly that, and through incentives, increased incentives to open cellar doors and to provide the experience that not only attracts our tourists, but retains them in the region. And originally, at the time, the government said the policy objective was to assist winemakers who make retail sales directly to unlicensed people from the cellar door or via mail order and who use their product in application to own use. It was stated at the time that wine producers form an important part of regional Australia and provides significant employment and tourism benefits. Well, none of that has changed. In fact, they've done a great job at it. And I know that even Australia's Southwest, the regional tourism group, always uses the wine and dining experience in my part of the world as one of the premier regional attractions. And the industry itself, though, along with government, acknowledged that there needed to be tightening of the eligibility rules to prevent the rebate being claimed multiple times on the same wine, to stop double dipping and overproduction just for that purpose. And of course, this bill introduces changes to address those industry integrity concerns about the wet rebate and to better target, again, bring it back to what was originally intended to do, which is to support those small to medium Australian craft wine producers as originally intended, not the bulk and unbranded. These changes have been very soundly negotiated with wine growers across the nation, and I particularly wish to thank Assistant Minister Senator Anne Ruston, who led the discussions for the government on this matter. The discussions were extensive. They were very extensive, and I commend her for her work. And of course, Senator Ruston came to the Margaret River region and the southwest and met a diversity of growers with a range of issues, and she listened to all of those. And much of what we see here is as a result of those consultations and genuinely understanding the positions of those small to medium producers. And Senator Ruston herself represents a wine-growing region, a large wine-growing region as well. But I also want to thank particularly the members of the industry who made their time available to meet with Senator Ruston and myself, and for their frankness at the table. Very, very important. And I also wanted to acknowledge Wines of WA for their engagement, and particularly the Margaret River Wine Association and the work of Redmond Sweeney, who's been part of this process in an ongoing basis to make sure that the issues that affect the small to medium enterprises in my part of the world are represented all the way through the progress of this. And the changes in this bill are part of the continuing efforts of the government to strengthen the integrity of Australia's tax system. And we know there's over 2,500 wine producers in Australia, and this will better target the rebate to genuine wine producers who actually invest themselves in building their brand. They invest in our regional communities. I see them every day, and they invest in local jobs. There couldn't be anything better than that. And of course, it will stop, the measures here will stop traders and major retailers from taking and having multiple claims at the rebate over the winemaking process. And that is actually to the detriment of the Australian wine industry. The work, the effort, the investment, the private investment and the passion of our producers. So from 2018-19, Wine Tourism and Cellar Door Grant program will exist as well. That's another measure in this bill. And it will actually allow producers who exceed their cap to access a grant of $100,000 for their cellar door sales. And of course, this again provides the certainty, it provides for the wine sold directly to consumer through the cellar door or the mail order, which is exactly what the original intent of this was, particularly once the producers reach the wet rebate cap of $350,000. Now that allows and will encourage even more investment. There is a lot of investment happening on the ground in these cellar doors because the tourist is expecting far more of their experience, and often it really involves an experience around sometimes a sophisticated, sometimes a very rural experience around food that they consume at the same venue. It's around a whole experience, and that is now what our small to medium cellar door wineries are needing to offer to attract and retain the tourists in this area. We've got so many additional experiences for people in our region as well. And I'm actually very pleased as well about the $50 million the government is providing for wine tourism and export promotion activities. And I'm looking forward to what comes out of that, particularly given the free trade agreements signed by this government. And this really needs to be used in a way that promotes the fine quality wines that is produced around Australia. But particularly, as members would understand, I'm very parochial about the product that's produced in my area, and I would think that some of the members in this room have sampled some of that wonderful produce and probably have a great affection and connection not only to the wine but to the region. And that's what we want. That's partly what this measure does. It helps to attract and retain tourists in our region. We sell a dream. We sell a dream of a fabulous experience. And part of that experience is not just the scenery. It's not just a visit to a winery and sampling some of the best quality products in the world. It's about the different experiences they can enjoy, what they can see and do. This part of the southwest is known as the events capital outside of Perth. And there's barely a weekend that goes by that there isn't a major event in my region, whether it's the Margaret River Pro Surfing, whether it's the jetty swim in Busselton, whether it's a range of amazing events that are held. Gourmet Escape, for one. And Minister at the table, the Minister for Trade, I thank you and the government for the $10 million plus a $9.78 million invested into the Busselton Margaret River Airport. And as you know directly, Minister, this is going to facilitate not only regional tourism, but the freight component for international flights. So people coming in on the top and our wonderful products going out underneath in freight. That is going to be transformative. I've said it repeatedly and you understand it better than most and have supported that very strongly. And you are coming to my electorate very soon, Minister. And I'm also looking forward to you being directly in touch with some of those wine producers who were at that Chamber of Commerce event and who see great opportunities in export, and also they're dealing with the practicalities of how to engage. And they are doing, and I encourage them in that. For all of those small, that they can, look, the members on any side of this chamber, if you haven't been to the Margaret River and Geograph wine regions, then you've missed out on a fabulous experience in life. And I'm sure that every member of this House and every member of the Australian public needs to fly in to the Busselton Margaret River Airport once it's up and running and take advantage of the amazing experiences. And I would encourage people to do so. And I am very pleased that the measures in this bill actually support, encourage and enhance the investment opportunities by those small local cellar door businesses, small, often family businesses that have invested a lot of their, not just their time, their passion, their money, but as I say, they are there providing an incredible and unique experience for people. And I would also say something that people sometimes overlook is that they provide venues for an extraordinary number of weddings that happen in the Margaret River Busselton region every weekend. That is a massive economic multiplier for the businesses there. And it's interesting that some small businesses have developed around the things that people forget when they come to attend a wedding. Very, very innovative, very smart, very switched on to what their market is and servicing it. And so in that whole region of Margaret River, the southwest, the Geograph region, if you also haven't been to Ferguson Valley, it is a beautiful little part of the world that has developed on the back of these small individual wineries. There is so much more to come for this region, and it's almost the untapped space. If you want a specific great rural experience again, the Ferguson Valley is for you as well. So I am unashamedly, in supporting this bill, also very proud to promote and support the investment, the passion and the commitment that my small rural and regional wine producers have offered and will continue through the measures that the government is promoting through this bill.